Hello and welcome to Gaysians, a Pridecast.
Woo! Hi everyone. My name's Jason. Let me get out of this. My name is Jason. I'm 21 years old and I am a gay Filipino man.
And my name is Ariana. I am also 21 years old and I am a queer Puerto Rican and Japanese woman.
Heck yeah, she is. Okay, so just to tell you a little bit about what Gaysians is, it is a weekly video podcast. The episodes are going to be about 30 minutes long. 30, 35 minutes, 20 minutes, however long it takes for us to say what we need to say. And we're going to be talking about current events and basically anything under the sun that we want, but in relation to the gay or LGBT Asian experience.
Yeah, so let's give a little bit of background on our podcast journey together.
Yes.
It's been a long one. So Jason and I were both part of the students who organized a showcase at Montclair State University to celebrate diversity in the theater and also talk about the students of color and the issues of race in the industry that we're a part of. So as a part of our work to advertise the showcase and get the word out, we were a part of a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a podcast by a friend of mine, Amanda Chapetta. And it was a really great experience for us. It was definitely a first for me. Was it a first for you, Ariana?
It was my first podcast. I had done a couple radio segments, but never a podcast before.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool environment, very comfortable, but still kind of very interview-like, and you still got the questions that you needed, but you were just very comfortable with the setting, and it was a really cool thing to experience. So
yeah, I think we both just kind of fell in love with the platform and the ways that you could talk about things that were important to you or bring guests on to discuss things that you wanted to learn more about. And so we tried out a podcast, a virtual one since we're socially distanced right now, for one of our classes, and we just really loved it. So we had the idea to start a podcast of our own.
Yes, and the reason it is called Gaysians, a Pridecast, is because one, we are your favorite Gaysians.
Yeah.
Name two better ones. You can't. Number two, it's because Pride was canceled this year. Well, officially, you know what I mean? The parades were canceled. All of those festivities are kind of nixed because of the pandemic that's going on. It made us really sad because for me personally, my first Pride was last year, and it was at Asbury Park Pride, and I was doing a show, and I got let out of rehearsal early, so I sped to Pride, and by the time I got there, it was already more than halfway done. Shops were closing up, but to walk in there and just see everyone so proud of who they were, what they were, and it was just such a surreal feeling. And I don't know, I would hate for someone else to not be able to experience that, and even people who already have experienced it. That's the worst thing, that you can't experience that again. It's this amazing thing that only happens once a year, but you can obviously have Pride all the time, anywhere, any place.
Right.
So yeah,
I think that's a little bit of what we're trying to do right now. I remember I had been to Pride a couple of times, but this would have been my first Pride, I think, being really out. And
what's going on? What is happening? I think the sun just parted from.
Okay, we are back. So sorry, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty.
Sorry, I just turned into an Oompa Loompa really quick. We're just gonna have to.
We're just dealing with it.
We're gonna deal with it. I gotta tell your story.
All right. So, like I was saying, I think this would have been my first Pride where I was really out, really comfortable with who I was, and really just where I accepted myself. So I was really disappointed that this whole situation happened. But oh my gosh.
It doesn't help wherever I go.
But I have seen so many creators on social media posting about ways that they are going to celebrate Pride virtually, and there are ways that we can celebrate and we can educate people and we can still come together as a community, you know, throughout the year. So I think this is a really great way that we can contribute to that.
Yes, of course, definitely.
We can spread a little joy right now.
Yeah.
Some education,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
But with all that being said, we obviously know that there are a lot of really scary things happening right now with police brutality. And we're very much aware that the country is really on fire right now in a race war. The pandemic is one of the problems, yes, going on in the country, but a lot of people are very outraged and they're very angry and they don't necessarily know how to go about their anger, especially non-POCs and even non-Black people. When Ariana and I were organizing our showcase earlier in the semester, you know, you can kind of gauge on like a non-POC's interest in your event when you interact with them. And I personally have never ever seen kind of, I guess, outsiders be this enraged with a POC problem.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I haven't even brought myself to watch the George Floyd video. I couldn't do it to myself. But yeah, a lot of people are angrier than I thought. I've never seen white people this angry about a racial issue.
Yeah, at least not this publicly.
Yeah. So
we actually had a whole different plan for this week's podcast, but we just couldn't ignore the situation that's going on right now in our country. But being two people who are POCs but non-Black, we wanted to make sure that there was a Black person present for this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to speak for a Black person on this issue. So I am going to go and admit in our friend Crystal, and then she can introduce herself.
Crystal is my best friend and also one of the leaders in the showcase.
Hey girls!
Yeah.
Gosh, this is so cute.
Yes.
Welcome to Gaysians.
A Pridecast.
Oh my gosh, like, should I get one? Like, I don't know.
Get one.
Okay, so we would love for you to introduce yourself.
Great. Hi, I'm Crystal Wright. I'm 21 years old. I'm Black and Native American, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I is.
Yeah. Crystal literally was one of the main students with us in creating the ethnic showcase that happened earlier this semester. So.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so how have you been processing the events that have happened? In your own, I don't want you to hold anything back, but obviously you are entitled to whatever you don't want to say, and obviously everything that you do want to say. So.
Okay. Processing, I feel it's been hard because each day is very different. Mm-hmm. And I will say, once this all first started happening, I wanted so badly to disassociate myself. And clearly I can't do that, but it gets a lot. It becomes a lot because, you know, when you're Black, you have to fight. You've been fighting for this every day of your life. So I'm ecstatic that it is become such a big thing and so many people have, used their platform to speak. But I feel like I've worn my voice out speaking about this for the majority of my life. So I will say wholeheartedly that disassociation was my first, because it was just a lot to deal with. And then as the days went on, it became sadness and anger. And today I feel rejuvenated because there are so many things that like I can do to, use my voice and continue to speak out and continue to to bring this movement to fruition.
I got that. I've seen a lot of people post, like black or not, post about how they feel about things. How much power do you think social media has in kind of proving yourself as an ally?
In regards to proving yourself as an ally, I don't think it holds much, but I do think it is important to use social media because we've seen the power of social media and what it can do for movements such as this, literally anything. Like if a child goes missing and you post it, like it can go viral, people can see it and, child will be found. But, you can not be an ally and still post, because being an ally doesn't mean just posting. And, a lot of people are seeing like, oh, like I need to say something because everyone else is saying something, not because that's how they truly feel. So I don't think social media really can say, oh, just because I posted, I'm an ally, I'm completely for this movement, because that a post doesn't mean much. Like it's very important to continue to post and like get the message out and like, donate and do what you can where you can, and obviously spread education about it to people who don't know. Posting is good in that sense, but it does not show your allyship.
Yeah, because I've talked to a couple of my friends, all of the people that I've talked to that I'm talking about now, they have their own white friends that they have been trying to educate themselves. And they just, a lot of what they've been saying is that a lot of people don't want to get stuff wrong. You know what I mean? Ariana, I don't know if you've had like conversations of your own with other people, but it's just like a lot of people don't say anything because they don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, I've had some of these conversations and we've talked about why people are posting on social media, or maybe why they're not. I think a lot of people are afraid that they'll say the wrong thing, or that they're not posting because it's not enough and they don't feel like it's going to make the difference that they want it to. But I also have people that have chosen to post on social media even though it's not going to make as much of a change in the world. They want to show their support to their Black friends and show them that they're not going to stay silent during all of this and that they're trying to educate themselves, which I think is a positive step. I also know a lot of people that are choosing what social media they post on. For like, I know a lot of people that are friends with a lot of their family on Facebook, and that's where they're choosing to post because they think it might reach an older generation or people that I know. And my Instagram is all my friends who, for the most part, share the same social and political views as I do. So when I post there, I'm showing like, hey, I support you and I'm here for you. But I think there's ways that you can reach a broader audience otherwise.
Right. I never really, sorry if I'm jumping over you, but I never really thought of that. And like, I think that's a very good point. But I feel that saying, I'm not going to post because I don't want to say the wrong thing is a cop out for a lot of people, because, there are people who are like, I'm going to disassociate myself. This has nothing to do with me. And that's just not okay.
Yes.
Also saying but also saying, you know, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but saying nothing is worse.
Right.
And if you truly would like to post and show your support, then you can educate yourself by talking to someone. I would love to talk. If you want to talk, like, we can talk, and then, you know,
info.
shout out, hey, follow me on Instagram at __ Crystal Renee __, you know, shoot me a message, like, we can talk, and then boom, you have some information to, like, post. And I know a lot of my friends have links in their bio to, you know, resources and what have you, that you can also post, even if you don't know what to say, just like education. Even if you don't have much education yourself, be like, oh, copy paste, and boom, there's some great stuff out there for everyone to look at, everyone to utilize. And, like, I don't know, that's just crazy that I haven't even heard that. And that's,
yeah, and I've heard it, and I've kind of told people some of the things that I've chosen to share on my social media are videos or other things that Black people have created and shared. And I'm not adding anything to that. I'm just saying, hey, I saw this, it taught me something, I would like it to teach you something.
right.
And I feel like that's a way, if you're afraid of saying the wrong thing, you can at least use the platform that you have to give someone else a voice.
Exactly.
They already put it out there.
Because a lot of what's happening is people are trying to silence it, and the more you post it and the more people see it and they post it, that's not gonna, it won't die out. If you're like, oh, I don't want to post the wrong thing, but if you see this and, like you said, Ariana, it taught you something, so I'm gonna repost it, I think that's a great idea. Like,
I also think there's something to be said about people who think they're helping, but then projecting their own non-helpful ideals when they do try to help. Like, I saw this whole Facebook thread earlier today who were kind of blaming the looters and shooters about, they were literally blaming them as to be the problem. They were like, well, of course I want everyone to have equal rights and this, that, and the third, but there's no reason why. They're just putting the spotlight on the looting instead of the actual problem at hand. Do you know what I mean?
right.
And a friend of mine who, it was a thread because this person commented on a friend of mine's original post, right? And my friend was like, so what you're doing is called a red herring argument, where you're basically throwing off and giving sort of a, I don't remember how he phrased it, but like, you're giving a completely irrelevant argument while still correct, but you're missing the point, essentially. Know what I mean? It's as if a teacher punishes you for cursing, but then does not address the actual issue at hand. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a very invalid thing to be focusing on right now.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
In regards to that, I will say, I think that's, like, everyone, I have noticed that everyone was like for it, gung-ho when posting, and then they're like, they see the looting happening and all this, and then they're like, oh no, I'm not with that. However, that's not how this started, which is what you were saying. It started as a peaceful protest, and all we wanted was justice, and we're not getting it, we're not being heard. And, you know, I posted this on my Instagram, and this quote is crazy, but from Martin Luther King, like, a riot is the language of the unheard. So if we continue to peacefully protest and we're still not being listened to, I mean, this has been going on for years. My grandmother talks about it. I talked to my mom about it earlier. Like, she's like, this has been happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, the 3 generations of women in my family, and I'm witnessing it. I'm the third. When is it going to stop? And until we have some sort of justice and reform, I mean, I'm not here for violence. That's not my MO. Like, that's not what I'm like, yeah, like, burn it down. Like, that's not where I go to first. But how else are we supposed to get our point across if we've peacefully protested for years and we're still nowhere? Because MLK was all about peaceful protest. And nobody liked what he had to say, so they assassinated him.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say, honestly.
Yeah.
And, you know, another thing is the looting, there's evidence that it was started by an undercover policeman. But of course, they're going to say that, oh no, like, look at those thugs starting this riot and yada, 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 when all we wanted was justice.
Yeah.
But they're going to try and, you know, flip the script and say that, no, this is what happened, and when it just isn't.
Yeah, I went to the Newark protest on Saturday, and it was relatively peaceful, honestly. No one was hurt, nothing crazy happened, but there were these two white guys kind of leading the pack, leading the chants or whatever. And one of the things that they did when we started marching was we stopped traffic, right? So there was a big old intersection, and we stood right in the middle, making like a little bit, like making a wall and kneeling. And the two white guys, they started climbing the traffic light. And there's a camera, not a traffic light, like a lamppost. There was a camera hanging off of one of the things of the lamppost, right? And they started spraying on the camera. And like, that's vandalism. And it's like a lot of people are thinking that it's helping, you know, but what it's doing is literally just pinpointing, it's giving politicians, it's giving cops even more of a reason to do their unnecessary violence. You know what I mean? Like you think you're helping, you think you're doing all this shit, but in essence, you're really just, you're taking your own anger out without thinking of the consequences of the people that are actually going to be affected, you know?
And that's one thing, you know, if you are not Black and you go to one of these protests to support this movement, do not, for any reason, you know, like rile it up in a way that turns it into something ugly. Because like you starting to vandalize, like you're not gonna reap the repercussions of that. So, you know, go and support, stay with your Black friends, make sure they're safe, hold on to them. Actually, don't hold on to them because pandemic and social distancing, but surround them and just keep them safe. Like there's really no reason to, you know, I get you're angry. Imagine what it's like for us, but like you don't have to start the riot. That's not really your place. Sorry, not sorry.
They're not going to pay the price for it.
Exactly.
What was that, Ariana? Sorry, you cut off for me.
They're not going to pay the price for it.
Yes.
So even if you think like that you're going to get violent for the right reasons, if you're not Black, you don't get a say.
For sure.
Oh, let me just adjust myself right here. I literally, you know.
Okay, we had another technical difficulty, but we're back.
Our last question is, Crystal, what do you think is something tangible, something realistic and immediate that we as non-Black people, non-Black POCs, and even white people can do to help, you know, the movement out?
I think personally, my heart is so warm from all the people who have reached out to me to, you know, express their allyship, and that I see as very genuine. You know, it's one thing to post on social media, but, you know, check on your Black friends. Text them, ask them how they're doing, like offer your support, because a lot of us are really going through it mentally, I will say that. But in regards to moving the movement forward. Also, educate yourselves, educate other people. Again, talk to your Black friends if you don't know, what to say, what to do. Like I said, hey, talk to me. I'm open. Donate where you can, where and when you can. And if you're down to protest, go out and show your support, because for us, we've been trying to get this movement going for how long? I don't even know. And it kind of just goes in one ear and out the other. But if other people speak up and say something, like, they're more inclined to listen.
Great.
That's it.
Love that. Yes.
I honestly, I just want to take this time as an Asian American to kind of address a significant lack of support from the Asian community, and that I've seen, because I know a lot of university kids who are Asian, and they kind of love to assimilate themselves into what would be known as Black culture, i.e., you know what I mean, listening to their hip hop songs, wearing their acrylic nails, and saying the N word as if their melanin depends on it. And, I have a show now, and I just would really like for those people, if they're listening, to kind of just get over themselves, because I was talking to my friend about this. Like, we're all, POC is going to stick together. Like, there's no other way to say it. You know what I mean? Like,
Truly.
the races are just going to pit us against each other. If it's not y'all, it's going to be us. If it's not us, it's going to be the Latinos. Like, there has to be somebody that they're going to pick on for the racists to remain in power. You know what I mean? And it's really heartbreaking for one minority to kind of look down on another, So that is my message to my fellow Asians.
Yeah, good point.
With that being said, I think if all of us minorities band together, that's a lot better than just us Black people trying to, like.
Yes, July 7th. Let's talk about that day.
Let's talk about Blackout Day 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, Blackout Day 2020 is July 7th, and it is a day where no Black people specifically, but all allies are welcome to participate in this. Please, actually. We're not spending a single dollar. Do not spend any money that day, because that's where we're gonna hit them where it hurts. They can't ignore us if, the economy, they're gonna be like, oh wow, we should really change this. It's gonna be great. I'm personally very excited about it. Please participate, everyone. If you're an ally, if you're a Black person especially, don't spend no money. July 7th.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any lasting comments?
You want to just get some of the resources out?
Yes. Yeah. Ariana can talk about some
So
research.
these are also going to be in our description, but just so that we can get them on the air, you can text justice to 668-366. You can text Floyd to 55156. You can get in contact with the district attorney and Minneapolis mayor and demand that the 4 officers be arrested for the murder of George Floyd. The Minneapolis mayor's office, Jacob Frey, you can call 612-673-2100. For the Minneapolis district attorney, Mike Freeman, you can call 612-348-5550 or email mailto:-citizeninfo@HENNEPIN.us. You can also visit act.colorofchange.org, or you can go to blacklivesmatter.com for more information and to educate yourself. There's also information on there on the pandemic and how that is affecting Black and brown communities. Lastly, please register to vote if you are not. We need to make some changes to the system, and that won't happen if you don't vote. So please, if this is something you're passionate about, especially, please vote. You should be able to find information online really easily on how to do that depending on where you live.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Woo! Love to hear it.
And with that, that is our first episode of Gaysians, a Pridecast.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening if you're here. We really appreciate it. We would also like to know, what would you like us to talk about in the future? We are people of color. We are queer. We are here. What do you want to hear from us? We also, we do theater. We're college kids.
Sometimes. Not anymore.
Aw, too soon.
Oh.
Just kidding. Okay, Crystal, thank you so much for joining us today and educating these peoples.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure. I love you both, and I'm so excited to see where this goes. I was so happy to be on episode 1. Wow, little honored. Best of luck to you both.
All right. Bye, guys. See you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.